We've all seen the that girl trends floating all over TikTok and Instagram, and it's a really wholesome trend that encourages you to focus on yourself, be a little bit selfish, create good habits, create good routines, and overall build and sustain a really happy, nourishing life that you want to live. And I really believe that being that girl is more of a mindset than specific habits and routines. But what about being that financial girl? The girl who has her money together, she saves, she invests, she has an emergency fund, doesn't get anxiety over last minute plans, isn't scared to spend money, and most importantly is empowered by her finances. Well, lucky for you, you've just clicked on a video series that's going to go through step by step for how to become that financial girl. So this video is going to be a series with the first and most important video, this video being a focus on mindset. In this video, we're going to try and figure out what kind of financial girl you want to be, reflect a little bit on the habits and things that you do now, figure out what you value the most and what you want out of, being good with money, and figure out how to change your mindset going forward so that we can build a really cool action plan in the next video. So the first thing I want you to do a little bit of a reflection on where you currently are. What are your current financial habits and how do they make you feel? What we're going to do is write them down, and really importantly, write down how they make you feel. So let's start with a normal day in the life of you. The habits themselves and how they make you feel are really important to focus on in this video, because we're going to take them into the next video and focus on them as the things we're really going to try and change permanently as a lifestyle change. You could just grab a piece of paper and a pen or your journal and just write down everything that you do on a normal day-to-day, spending wise, and how it makes you feel. So do you go to the coffee shop before work every morning and get yourself a latte? How does it make you feel? And be really specific. For example, when I go and buy a coffee, I like it because it's a treat. I don't get a coffee that much. I still have that guilty feeling for spending money that I could have not spent. Even though it's an oat milk latte, it doesn't matter what amounts you're spending and how often you're doing it, write this down and write your feelings down with it. Before I used to start making a lot of videos on YouTube, I used to spend impulsively, very easily, just because something was on sale, and that made me feel scared that I would regret not getting it. But then when I did get it, it would make me feel really guilty for hoarding loads of stuff and not really wearing the stuff I was buying more than once. When opportunities to socialize came around, I always said yes in fear of missing out and in fear of looking boring to my friends. And then when I was out, I would go all out with spending. I wouldn't really limit it because I thought, I'm out, I'm here, I want to show that I'm fun. I'm gonna buy all the things and all the drinks. A habit of mine, was to not save money, because my feeling was that I wasn't the kind of person that could save because I didn't have enough money to save. And it was also a habit that kind of led to me never really actively learning about investing when I was younger and doing it, because I thought, if I'm the kind of person who can't save, how am I going to be the kind of person who invests money? And this kind of made me feel stupid. These habits that you have around money are very likely the result of stories you tell yourself about money. It's a result of, the way you've grown up, your childhood, how your parents were with money, maybe how exposed or not exposed you were to money while growing up. My money story when I was younger very much looked like, I'll never have money in abundance, so I might as well spend everything I get now. I might as well live life now because I'm never going to be rich. I'm never going to have extra money. And it was very much doom and gloom, cup half empty. I couldn't for the life of me see that saving and investing and spending in a more empowered way was possible for someone like me. Now let's sit down and visualize the kind of person that you want to be with money. So we're going to stick to the journaling or drawing out or writing method, and we're going to get another page. And in the middle of the paper, you're going to write out that financial girl. And we're going to add some descriptors around what this girl does, what you do with money, and how you spend money in an ideal world, in a world where you have an abundance of it, you have an overflowing bank account, you have investments, you have everything. And I want you to detail that as well. How big is your bank account? Do you have savings? Do you have investments? Do you have an emergency fund? For me, when I was writing this down, I wrote down that, that financial girl spends money without guilt, spends money because she can spend money. And much like the first step where we wrote down our feelings that were attached to our current habits, I want you to write down the reason for each of these descriptors. So for me, for example, saving money from every payslip is going to be because I'm a consistent saver, always adding to a pot of money, no matter how little. No matter how little, I'm doing it consistently. I'm showing up for that savings account. And the same goes to investing. I invest because I want to take advantage of compound interest, because now I know what compound interest is and I know how beneficial it is for me to take advantage of it in my 20s. I want an emergency fund, not so that it's there in an emergency, but so that I am not restricted to any job situation or any kind of life event that happens to me out of the blue, which yes, could be an emergency, but if you reframe it in a way that the emergency fund frees you from, you know, having to stay in a job that you don't like, to having to stay in a relationship that is not working for you. There are so many reasons why an emergency fund can really alleviate some of your life anxiety. Now, hopefully after this exercise, you have a little bit more clarity on the ultimate goal, the ultimate kind of person you want to be with money. And they're all going to be specific to you. These descriptors are going to be super specific and super descriptive of your daily habits and how you want to feel doing them, knowing that you have as much money as you want in the world. And you are good with money, and you have the habits built already that will let money come to you consistently. We're hopefully starting to uncover a few values that are close to you. And I want you to dig really deep when you do this exercise, and I want you to really try and figure out what are the things that, you know, you could exchange money for that would bring you like real happiness and real joy and make you feel really content when you tuck yourself into bed every night. And the more specific you get, the more you can kind of see in your head that it's you with all that money that you're eventually going to be. You could even write a letter to money and talk to money as if it's a person and tell them, you know, I'm going to be like this with you. I'm going to be able to spend you as I want without any guilt. In any way that this exercise is going to help you visualize the kind of person you want to be, do that, because you can be that person. Which brings me on to my next point, which is in order to be that financial girl, you have to think like that financial girl. And I want you to start practicing doing this with your day-to-day tasks, like over the next few days, over the next few weeks. When you go to your local coffee shop and buy coffee, instead of thinking, oh, like I didn't budget for this, but I want to treat myself, think, I can buy this coffee. I get to buy this coffee. I can buy it today and I can buy it next week and everything's going to be fine. Just tell yourself that in your head. Speak to yourself in a better way when you make your purchases. And you could even practice doing the things that yourself as that financial girl would do. For example, if one of your values are traveling, go and look up, you know, your ideal holiday. Go look up the flights on your ideal dates, maybe your birthday. Look the flights up. Go to the last stage of booking them. Don't book them, obviously, unless you can, unless you want to. Don't book them, but in your head, get used to that feeling and that giddiness of being able to do that. Visualize having those booked and putting the dates in your calendar, requesting the time off work. Imagine what you're going to wear to the airport when you're boarding the flight. And do this kind of exercise with every purchase that you want to make that you can't just now. And also talk to yourself better with every purchase that you do make in your day-to-day life going forward. Consistently tell yourself and train your brain to think positively when you do spend. You get to do this, and once you spend the money, you're going to be fine. The final thing I want you to do over the next few days or weeks is just really focus on what you have right now. And I mean in the simplest of terms. When I was in the early stages of my own journey of trying to be that financial girl, and I came across the concept of gratitude, I really did not believe in it. I thought it was really cringy. I would write down the things in my journal. You know, I'm grateful to have a warm bed, to have shelter, to have family, to have friends, but I don't have this amount of money in my bank account, which is what I really wanted. Constantly thinking about something you don't have is just going to make it really obvious for you. It's going to make you more sad, and it's also going to do nothing to help you try and get what it is that you want. If I say to you now to think about a 4-door red Seat Ibiza, don't know why that's in my head, you're gonna see those cars all day, all week. You're gonna notice them when they drive past. It would have been driving past anyway, but you wouldn't have noticed it. But now it's in your head, you're gonna pick it up. Flip that mindset onto what you think you don't have and focus on the things you do have, but in the very mundane, the most mundane of ways. And I've got a really funny story for you. So I was taking the bins out of my flat the other day. I went to tie the bin because I've got the tie handles, and I was actually feeling gratitude for being able to take the bins out. And I know how stupid this sounds, and I promise you I'm not making it up. I'm probably not that lucky to have a load of rubbish in my flat. The night before, I had pizza night with my partner. I had a couple of drinks with friends at my flat, and the bin was just full of all this stuff, and I was looking at it and I was like, I'm so grateful that I get to just take this out. Having had such a nice time the night before, I just get to take it out, come back into my flat, chill with a hangover, and just kind of have this solitude after spending time with people I really like. And it just made me feel a little bit grateful. Like some people can't do that. You know, it is really hard when you first start to pick up on the moments of gratitude throughout your day, but they are there. You just have to be aware of the fact that you are looking out for them. I don't want you to write down 5 things you're grateful for in your journal every night. I just want you to kind of come back to thinking about it every now and then throughout your day. Just think, when you're doing something, just think, oh, other people do not get to do this, and I'm really grateful for it. And it can be the smallest of tasks. And the point of this is that it's actually quite hard to feel that yearn or like a very deep desire for money you don't have and being more financially free when you're focusing on what you do have and you feel content with your daily life. It makes more space in your brain to focus on what you can actually do to bring that into your life, bring the financial freedom into your life, and what you can actually do to change the habits and behaviors that will get you it. So while we wait for part 2, which is all about the action plan and the system building, tell me something that you are grateful for in the comments. And I want it to be as mundane and as small as possible. I don't want to hear anything about shelter, food, your bed, anything. We are very lucky to have those. And I want you to consider something a little bit more mundane in your life that makes you feel grateful, and share it with me in the comments. Now, I want you to keep both the reflective piece of paper, the note, whatever you wrote it on, and also the ideal version of you. I want you to keep those safe and take them into the next part of this video series where we will build a system of actionable habits. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.